When you retire with $500,000, you don't have a lot of room for error. Today, I'm going to walk you through how you can get the most out of your $500,000 in retirement savings by using the number one biggest lever you have, which is your Social Security decision, and also your ongoing decisions with your tax planning to get more income and pay less taxes in retirement. You might not have exactly $500,000. You might not be exactly 62 years old. What's most important is the process to take when you retire, and also deciding if you want someone to guide you through this part of your life, where you're facing these big decisions that can make you or cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. The 3 steps you need to take in order to help you get the most out of your retirement are, number 1, your longevity decision, where you are estimating how long your life expectancy might be. That's a key input, and it's a big part of your decisions of when do I retire and how do I go about making the next best Social Security decision, which is the number 2 step you need to take, making that Social Security decision. That's an upfront, one-time decision that's going to affect the rest of your life. Now, the next part is your ongoing tax planning. You might not have planned too much in your taxes over your lifetime before you hit retirement, but when you do hit retirement, you've got a lot of options there, and your decisions, your flexibility on your tax planning can add a lot to your retirement. Now, Dave and Sue are 62 years old. They saved up $500,000 for retirement. And that first piece is looking at their life expectancy. We've got plugged in there, age 86 for Dave, 92 for Sue. Let me show you how we came up with that. And again, this life expectancy is a big part of your Social Security decision, because how long you live is going to affect your Social Security. And of course, the longer you live, the more you've got to make your investments last. So let's go to a place called longevityillustrator.org. You plug in your name, your birthday, your gender, whether you're a smoker or not, and your health status, if you are average health, above average, or below health. It's going to give you an accurate statistical representation of what your life expectancy, your longevity really looks like. It's important to get that personalized life expectancy estimate for a few reasons. One of them is that quite often you're basing your own life expectancy on what you've seen happen in the past with your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles. Well, you've got 25 or 50 years worth of medical advances that you get to take advantage of, and you are very likely, even if your genetics were exactly the same, your lifestyle choices are exactly the same, you're very likely to live longer than the previous generations before you. The other piece of life expectancy is that you'll likely read in the news that 78 is the average life expectancy. Well, that's based on a newborn child and what's likely to happen to them over the next 78 years. You've made it well past to the point where now you're 62 years old. You've beat the odds. And if you've beat the odds, you've got a new life expectancy that's not based on your birth, but it's based on your own age, which right now might be 62. That's what it is for Dave and Sue. So let's see how their life expectancy looks. That's a key. The number 1 input to your retirement planning is your longevity, your life expectancy. I use longevity because that's what the actuaries use. And most people take a look at life expectancy and they're using the average. And that's a good starting point, right? Your average life expectancy is this average here. They use the word longevity. So Dave here has an average life expectancy of 24 more years to age 86. For Sue, it's 26 more years to age 88. A couple of things to keep in mind though. When there's 2 of you and you're looking at the averages, on average, one of you might die beforehand, one of you might die afterwards. You've got to not plan on your own specific averages, but on the average of the couple. And on average, one person in the couple will live longer than average, which is why you've got to look at this column here called either. How long might either one of you be around, which is often 3, 4, 5 years longer than just your own specific life expectancy. So that's how we came up with 86 there for Dave. 92 we plugged in for Sue, because that's the average for Dave, that's the average for the couple, and that's how long you need to plan for. If not planning for even longer, they have a 1 in 4 chance of making it roughly 5 years longer. For your own planning, that might be the length of time, adding about 5 years to your average life expectancy might be what you want to plan for, just to give yourself a little bit more conservative estimate there. So we've got this life expectancy estimate. We're plugging it in. Now we're looking next at Social Security, where Dave here has $2,000 of a Social Security estimated amount. That's what he's promised at his age of 67. Sue has an amount of $1,500. Now, if either one of them takes it early, that's a cut then of up to 30%. Or it's a growth by 8% per year. That's really up to them. Now let's take a look at their investments. And not only is the investments important on the dollar amount of $500,000, but it's the type of investments. For Dave and Sue, this is what I typically see as well too. They've got traditional accounts of $400,000. They have taxable accounts of $50,000, and they have a Roth IRA of $50,000. Like most people I run into, the majority of their money is in traditional accounts where they will pay the taxes on it later on. So that's why tax planning is a big key piece of this. Now with $500,000 and with their Social Security, they're wondering how much money can they live on. So let's take a look at their cash flow. And that dollar amount for them came to $37.50 per month, $45,000 per year. And that amount, $45,000 per year, when you're planning this all out and figuring out what amount you can live on, most often I see you've got a dollar amount, here's how much I can live on, that doesn't account for taxes. I'd encourage you to look at the lower amount after the taxes of how much is coming into your checking account. That's what you're living on right now while you're working, is your take-home pay. So I plug in here for them and encourage you to look at what's your take-home pay, what's your after-tax amount that's showing up in your pocket. For them, it's $45,000 per year after the taxes, growing with inflation. But we're looking here at the Social Security decision, knowing that we've got an estimate on life expectancy, we're planning on the $45,000. How do we get the most over their lifetime? How do we get the most stable income over their lifetime? Now, most Social Security calculators, especially when you have a relatively similar dollar amount of Social Security coming in, again, it was $2,000 for Dave, $1,500 for Sue, as that promise amount at age 67, quite often it will tell both of the people in the couple to wait all the way to age 70. And most people I talk to don't want to wait to age 70. So quite often you look at kind of the two binary choices of do we both take it early or both take it later, and when you believe or are kind of presented with there's only two choices, waiting 8 years for both of you doesn't really seem worth it. Even though you take a look, what if you took it at age 62? And for them, Dave and Sue, that's $1 million they could expect over a lifetime, $1.1 million over a lifetime. But if they both waited till 70, that's $400,000. Their Social Security decision could bring them $400,000 extra over their lifetime. But again, looking at saying, do I have to wait all the way 8 more years to get the benefit out of that? A lot of people say no thanks, which is why I encourage you not to only look at that binary, early versus later, or maybe add that third choice, full retirement age in. Look at all the different choices that you have out there and really break it up. Break it up so that you have not just both at the same time or both all the way wait. What if one of you takes it earlier, one of you takes it later, as opposed to both of them taken at the same time? Let's take some comparisons and see how that really works. And again, remember from 62 to 70, both way to 70, there's a $400,000 amount coming in from Social Security. Can they get a larger amount of that? Could they get a big benefit from that without having to fully wait the full 8 years for both of them? Here's how they come up with that difference, how calculators will come up with that difference of waiting that, yes, take it early, gives you a whole bunch of extra money, perhaps even $240,000 in that first 8 years or so, but then you're getting so much more. You're actually getting 76% more if you wait till 70 instead of 62. You come out ahead by waiting early, but waiting till later and giving you more starts kind of eating away at that advantage. That's why a lot of people look at that break even over here, about age 80 for them is that break even amount. And they're wondering, is it even worth it to wait? Because I've got to wait till age 80 to get the benefit. Well, that benefit by waiting till 70, $370,000 benefit. So the computer says go ahead and do that. But let's just compare here. What if instead of both waiting the 8 years, what if you both waited the 3 years? What if you both waited to 65? How much of that benefit might be in that? Both of you waiting till 65 gives you about $120,000 benefit for Dave and Sue. Now, they both waited 3 years, and that gives them some benefit, but it's not nearly like that $370,000 benefit of both of them waiting till age 70. So I'd encourage you to think of this other idea. What if instead of you both taking it at age 65, one of you takes it at 62, one of you takes it at 68? One person early, one person waits 6 years, kind of averages out to what if you both waited the 3 years, right? That averages out. 0 and 6 averages out to 3. Now, which one is going to win? And what's interesting about the one person taking it early, you're winning then because you're getting some money coming in. Now, when you get to where there's two of you taking it at 65, certainly that one is going to win for a few years. But it's only the 3 years because all of a sudden at age 68, you've got the higher amount coming in. And for the rest of time, they're coming out ahead because they had the one person wait overall. So that extra value by one person waiting till 68 compared to both people going to 65 comes out ahead by 70 grand. And really where the biggest value comes in is the surviving spouse, instead of getting $2,800 a month, is getting $3,500 a month. For Dave and Sue, they like the idea of getting $700 a month extra to that widow. And I say widow because it's quite often the female spouse. I don't know too many widows that say, I don't want that extra $700. So planning out your Social Security isn't about, let's just both wait till 70 because that's what the computer says. It's about how do you get the most for the widow? And how do you get the most benefit on waiting overall? Where I saw here the difference between going early versus one person taking it at 68, that's a $186,000 difference. You get half the benefit of both waiting to 70 by only one person waiting till 68. That seems like a good deal, and that's what Dave and Sue are looking to do. Now, it's not just about your Social Security decisions. How does everything plug in together? Where you've got your investments, you've got your Social Security, and when you're taking money from your investments, there's some tax situations going on. When you're taking money from Social Security, that's got a tax situation going on. What you've got to do then is you've got to go and project out all of your taxes through your lifetime. And when you're projecting out all of your taxes over your lifetime, you might have 30 years worth of tax returns projected out because there's a lot of different situations going on. And with your tax planning, you want to find the times when your taxes are lowest and pay the taxes then. Find the times when the taxes are highest and find ways not to pay the taxes at the high tax rate. And you look at a situation where there's no tax planning and at all, you might have, with the $500,000 in the Social Security for Dave and Sue, $100 grand of taxes over their lifetime. Doing some tax planning and changing the Social Security around might change their tax situation down to cutting it in half. That's not a bad way to go, where you cut your taxes down because you've been proactive on your tax planning. The less you pay to the tax person, the more you get to keep for yourself. So when you've got this ability to plan out your taxes, how do you actually make a choice on where do I take my money from? Thankfully, that's where the computers come in and help us out. So you might not have a computer software that helps you run thousands of scenarios like I'm doing right now. You might not want to project out 30 years worth of tax returns, but just think of then different points in your life where there's kind of a before and after, where you can say, how does my tax situation look before versus how does my tax situation look after? Maybe it's before and after you retire, or before and after you take Social Security, before and after required minimum distribution start. And then the one you quite often forget is the before and after, when if there's two of you, later on in life, there's going to be just the one of you, and you're filing at the single taxpayer rates, which aren't as advantage to you when you're filing at the married filing joint rates. So look at these before and afters and try to find those times when you have a lower tax benefit to pay the taxes then versus a higher tax rate, so you can try to avoid or defer those taxes later on. Now, I ran thousands of scenarios with the computer, and it's showing me the top 100 or so on there. And a lot of times you get bogged down a little bit on the details. Okay, what is the exact one benefit, exact one way to take this Social Security, or exact one way to take my tax planning and take it from here versus there to make sure it's going to be the best of your lifetime. Well, you can't plan out your exact lifetime and know exactly how it's going to work. The investments are going to change. The tax laws are going to change. Your life might change. So I'm looking at the top 10 here, where we're adding up the money you started with, the income you're getting from Social Security, the income you're coming in from your investments. For Dave and Sue, the number 10 position here gave them $2.38 million of benefit, income plus their $500,000 staying roughly equal over time. The number one benefit decision gave them 2.38, right? $8,000 of difference between the 10th best idea and the number one best idea. That's hardly a difference at all. So I want you to focus on is not the details of, okay, I have to do this exactly this way. And I've had people ask me, can you tell me exactly what to do for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? The answer is no. The answer is, let's give you the right direction that you ought to be going towards to make the big decisions that give you the best chance over time. And a lot of times the big decision is, should I be doing a Roth conversion or not doing a Roth conversion? And for Dave and Sue here, with their $500,000 of investments, their Social Security, we're seeing the top 10, I don't see any Roth conversions suggesting at all. What the suggestions are is using multiple accounts, where you have these brokerage accounts, you have savings accounts, you have traditional accounts, you have Roth accounts, and quite often the conventional wisdom is to draw down your savings account, then draw down your brokerage account, then draw down your traditional account, and then draw down your Roth account. Kind of do it in order. And that's really ignoring the way that the tax system is set up, where you've got the standard deduction where you have no taxes on your income in the standard deduction area. Then you've got 10%, 12%, 22% beyond. You got a difference between how your capital gains might get taxed, which could be at the 0% tax rate, versus how your income might get taxed, which could be the 10, 12, 22, 24. It's a higher tax rate most often with income taxes. Accounting for those differences and pulling money out of multiple accounts looks to be the way that Dave and Sue ought to be doing things. And then looking at, should they make some changes perhaps in 2026 when the tax laws change? Or should they be making changes in 2032 when they are fully on Social Security and they're approaching the required minimum distribution ages? There's some times where you might think, okay, this is my strategy, I'm going to stay with it the rest of the time. No, quite often you change your strategies, where you might target one part of the tax code for a little while. Then you might target another part of the tax code. It seems like actually they might get to the point where they could do Roth conversions at a 0% tax bracket. Well, they ought to do that. You ought to pay taxes at 0% if you can. So being flexible and changing your decisions over time are really the way to optimize your retirement. So let's take a look at all these different decisions and kind of the key points and where they might have ended up. I've got a summary here of their Social Security decisions and the different tax planning decisions. And we always start with the idea of doing no tax planning, no Social Security planning at all. You don't plan out your taxes any different other than just what I said, that conventional wisdom of start with one account, then keep on moving on down the line, and take Social Security early. When Dave and Sue do that and they start with the $500,000, they're looking like they're doing all right, but they're pulling down their investments a little bit over time. Looks like they might end up with about $300,000 in investments left over. So they didn't run out of money, but they saw it kind of go down over time. Now, if they do some tax planning, that might bring them about $25,000 or so of value. So that's great to get some extra value out of their tax planning. I don't think they want to turn down $25,000. And a lot of that has to do with having a lower tax bill because they've planned out their taxes over time. But it looks like for them, and this is what I see, is quite often your choice on Social Security can bring you the most value. You might think it's the investments. You might be worried about the taxes, but really your one-time choice, your choice on what you do with Social Security today can really set you up over your lifetime. I see that quite often when you have $500,000 or below. It's really your Social Security choice that's the key input to your retirement. So what if just one of them waited till age 65? One of them waited 3 years. That's about 80 grand of extra value added into their retirement. What if that one person waited the 6 years like we were talking about earlier? That's about 145 grand of extra value. And then of course, what if they waited on Social Security, just the one person waited on Social Security 6 years, and they did the tax planning? Overall, that's over 175,000, almost 180,000 of extra amount at the end of their life, which might mean more money that goes to the kids, might mean they've got better ability to take more income over time, or just might mean they have more stability, they have more ability to kind of go with the ups and downs, the bumps and bruises that might happen along the way. When you're looking at this Social Security decision, where this Social Security decision could bump their ending balance from 300 grand to almost 450,000, right? Their Social Security decision could help grow how much they have at the end of their retirement by 50%. That's a huge deal, where it's not just what's going on with the investments. It's also, what did you do with your Social Security? What did you do with your tax planning? And of course, for Dave and Sue, and what I see most often when you have about $500,000 or so, and especially when you have below that, is it's your Social Security decision that can make the biggest impact to your retirement, which is why you got to focus on your Social Security decision and these different decisions on how do you have a more stable income, since you're relying more on Social Security than really, in a way, you're relying more on your investments you saved up. You've worked hard and you deserve to get the most out of your retirement. To get more confidence in your retirement choices, check out my next video, how to use a safety-first approach to retirement. I'll see you there. Hi, I'm Jeremy Keil, owner of Keil Financial Partners. And if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients get more income, pay less in taxes, and avoid big retirement mistakes, make sure to go to keilfp.com. That's KEILFP.com.